Ladies and gentlemen, I'm by the names of Ukikunda Inyasijori. Welcome to this channel. Subscribe and then share. The Twilight of the Ayatollah, the Fall of the Eagle and the Lion. The silence in Tehran. The world woke up on 1st March 2026 to a silence that spoke louder than an explosion. In the early hours, a joint military operation by the United States and Israel, unprecedented in its scale and precision, ripped through the heart of the Islamic Republic. The headlines flashed across global screens with a frequency that felt like a heartbeat. The Japan Times, Iranian Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei was killed Saturday. State media confirmed the most ambitious attack on Iranian targets in decades. Not only that, but Al Jazeera also said protesters appear to be mobilizing toward the US embassy amid anger over Khamenei's death. Iran's president vows a great crime will not go unanswered. Even also Reuters said Trump says strikes make Iran talks much easier, calling it a great day for the world. For decades, Ali Khamenei was the eternal pillar of the revolution. Now, according to the Emirates news agency, the regime has declared 40 days of national mourning. The man who outlasted 9 American presidents and decades of sanctions has finally met the shadow of the sword. The road to the abyss, 2024 up to 2026. How did the world reach this reaping point? The escalation was not a sudden spark, but a slow burning fuse lit years ago. 2024, the first cracks was happened. Tensions shifted from proxy wars to direct fire. Following the October 7th attacks, Israel targeted Iranian generals in Damascus. Iran responded with its fire-ever direct missile barrage on Israel soil. In June 2025, the 12th day war, a massive flare-up saw Israel and the US strike Iranian nuclear and military sites. Al Jazeera reports that over 600 Iranians were killed in this window. Khamenei, then 86, survived, declaring victory even as his air defenses crumbled. Late 2025, the International Crumble reports from the Economic Times and the Jerusalem Post suggested Khamenei's mental and physical health was failing. Protests across Iran expanded, fueled by a crumbling economy and an aging leadership that refused to bend. In February 2026, the final gambit, after Iran was declared non-compliant with the nuclear obligations by In February 2026, the final gambit after Iran was declared non-compliant with the nuclear obligations by the International Atomic Agency, the US and Israel launched the decapitation strike. In February 2026, the final gambit after Iran was declared non-compliant with the nuclear obligations by International Atomic Energy Agency, the US and Israel launched the decapitation strike, a world in the shadow of the retaliation. As the news of the Supreme Leader's death settles, the world is holding its breath. This is no longer a region scream, a world in the shadow of retaliation. As the news of the Supreme Leader's death settles, the world is holding its breath. This is no longer a regional skirmish, it is a global tectonic shift. The fallout. Regional chaos. Iran has already retaliated, firing missiles at Israel and US bases in Qatar, Bahrain, and the United Arab Emirates. Economic shock. In India, up to now, the Civil Aviation Ministry reported over 440 flight cancellations in a single day due to the closure of Middle East airspace. The nuclear question. With the head of the snake gone, the status of Iran's nuclear program is wildcat. The UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres has warned of destruction on an unimaginable scale. What happens next? We are entering in a dark horizon. Without designated successor, Iran faces a brutal internal power struggle. Will the IA Revolutionary Guard take over as a military junta, or will the Provisional Leadership Council, including the President and Chief Justice, be able to hold the fragments together? That is the questions that arise. Whether the IRGC, Revolutionary Guard, will take over as a military junta, or will maybe the Provisional Leadership Council, including the President and the Chief Justice, be able to hold the fragments together in Iran. President Trump has called on the Iranian people to take back their country, but the streets of Tehran remain a battlefield of mullahs and revolutionaries. The axis of resistance is headless, and the world is watching to see if the fall of one man marks the end of an era, of the beginning of a much larger, more terrifying war. So stay tuned. We shall next time tell you more about the updates and different documentaries like this. I am Ignatius Okwikunda Jolie. So stay tuned, share and subscribe.